I don't think there's a singer alive who hasn't been told to sing from the diaphragm. But what does that mean? And more importantly, is it even possible to sing from the diaphragm? The answers might surprise you.
Sound check.
G'day there, welcome to Voice Essentials, where we believe that if you know more, you can sing more. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm so pleased you chose to click on this video. Have you ever been told to sing from the diaphragm? From my experience, it seems to be an age-old instruction that many singers still associate with singing well. But when I ask beginner singers to locate their diaphragm for me, not only do most people not know where it is, they often don't even know how it works or what it does. So, firstly, what is it? Well, the diaphragm is a rather large muscle, the second largest in your body, and it separates your thoracic cavity containing your heart and your lungs from your abdominal cavity, the lower half of your torso. The diaphragm has a dome shape, and it is often labeled as having two divisions, left and right. Unlike other voluntarily controlled muscles, the diaphragm is connected to both the somatic and autonomic nervous systems. Strictly speaking, the diaphragm is a voluntary muscle. It is not, however, a muscle over which most people have direct conscious control. But of course, singing is a very conscious activity requiring intentional management of the diaphragmatic movements. So how does that all work? Well, the best way to think about the diaphragm's work when singing is to ignore it. Okay, so maybe not ignore it, but it can be helpful to not focus directly on your diaphragmatic motion. Instead, learning to monitor and manage the control of its movement through sensations in the abdomen and thorax during breathing. That's right, you see, firstly, you can't really directly control the diaphragm. In fact, you'll never hear me telling you to learn breath control. The word control, to me at least, suggests that the singer needs to learn to consciously move the diaphragm up and down, just like you choose to move your arm or your hand. No, we don't have that kind of control over our diaphragm. What we can learn to do is manage the diaphragmatic movements via other muscle sets. So with this in mind, let's briefly talk about the two events of breath management: inhalation and exhalation. The diaphragm contracts during inhalation. That is, it means it's moving downwards. Now, the only way your diaphragm can fully contract is when your abdominal wall fully releases. I often say to my students, good singing is frumpy singing. You need to learn to let it all hang out when you inhale. Now, to make my point, do this for me. Hold your tummy muscles in really tight, and now try and breathe in. So hold them in tight. It's really hard. Notice how little air you can take in when your abdominal wall is too tight. You need to release the abdominal muscles, which you can directly control, in order to manage the active descent of the diaphragm. One small point before we continue: try and avoid the temptation to push your tummy muscles out when you breathe in. The word release should denote a letting go of any tension through your midriff, not a purposeful push. Now, let's talk exhalation. And this is where we put that old instruction to sing from the diaphragm to rest once and for all. When you exhale, the diaphragm, for the most part, is passive. That's right. At that very moment when you are creating sound, the diaphragm is rising due to its natural elastic recoil, helped along by the effect of gravity on the thorax, as well as the flow dynamics of atmospheric pressure. When you follow this information to its logical conclusion, it's an anatomical impossibility to sing from the diaphragm. It simply can't be done. The muscle that we need to learn to manage for exhalation during contemporary singing are mainly the abdominals, of which there are 5 significant players: the external oblique, the internal oblique, rectus and transverse abdominis, or abdominal muscles, all of which are located primarily in the anterior and lateral abdomen, and the quadratus lumborum, which lies in the lower back. So we now understand that you can't sing from the diaphragm. The facts are that your sound is created at the level of the vocal folds and is fueled by your breath stream. With this knowledge in place, we can confidently state that we sing with our whole body, not just the diaphragm. But I suspect you're keen to move beyond the what and start learning the how. Click on this video and I'll teach you not 1, but 4 breath management exercises that will improve your singing in really exciting ways. I'll see you again soon. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.